Hello and welcome to Animated Wonders, an Explosion Network podcast where we celebrate animation in all of its forms. This is Animated Wonders. In this season, we'll be discussing all the films in the Toy Story franchise. Hello, my name is Blight, and joining me to discuss this week's Animated Wonder is Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here to talk about how ventriloquist dummies are very creepy.
They are very creepy, as proven by this week's film, Toy Story 4, released in 2019. Comes from the United States, directed by Josh Cooley, written by Andrew Stanton, Stephen Folsom, John Lasseter, Josh Cooley, Valerie Lapointe, Rashida Jones, Will McCormick, Martin Hines. Of course, Pixar and Disney. And then your cast was Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Annie Potts, Tony Hale, Keegan-Michael Key, Jordan Peele, Madeline McGraw, Christina Hendricks, Keanu Reeves, Ali Mackey, Jay Hernandez, Laurie Allen, and Joan Cusack. When Woody, Buzz, and the gang joined Bonnie on a road trip with her new craft project turned toy, Forky, the innocent little spork's antics launch Woody on a wild quest. Obviously, the most recent addition to Toy Story until the release of Toy Story 5, which is coming out this year, 2026, hence why we're doing all these rewatches. I personally have not watched this since I watched it in cinema and then I watched it once at home, which would have been in the same year, presumably, if we're putting out. So I've watched it twice before this, but I haven't watched it for a long time for years since it came out. Are you the same? And what were your reactions on this watch?
I don't think I've seen this since I watched it in cinemas. And I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I think there was like a general feeling that this wasn't as good as the last three films. And I think it probably is not to that level, but it is definitely going for something else. I do think it's a little bit more broader, a little bit more comedic, a little bit more, they are retreading a couple of themes that they've done before. It's not, but also like fleshing out the world and like kind of, I think, potentially setting up the franchise for a future, so, or it could have been perceived as an end, like, so, yeah, it's an interesting film that I think I liked more this time than I remember liking it previously.
Yeah, I always liked it. And I do think there was that big part of, and I said with our discussion of 3 that I do recall, the franchise should have ended at 3. Crazy why they're doing 4. That's insane. And then watched it. I remember really enjoying it. I think it is it is very different as you're saying. Just it is very Woody focused on this adventure with Forky. A lot of the other characters, and including Buzz, get sort of sidelined. A big
Buzz is shoehorned into this story.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, we don't have anything for you. Let's come up with some sort of plot story.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got some sort of inner voice? Okay.
The movie is Woody, Forky's, and Bo Peep's, and then the new characters, I guess, a little bit amongst that. But it's really Woody, Bo Peep, and Forky as the thing. I really, really enjoyed this rewatch, having not watched it for so long. And as much as I was saying all that stuff about having no emotional attachment last week, this rewatch, this is the only one of these movies so far where I've teared up at all.
Really?
Yep.
At what point?
The ending.
Okay.
So I don't know if we want to psychologically analyze why this is the one for me on the rewatch that is there. But I mean, because it's the Woody saying goodbye to Buzz and the crew and
to his actual family, rather than his employee. That's his employer.
Yeah,
yeah. He's saying goodbye to his work family instead of his employer. You know,
Yeah, maybe that's it could be.
Reading anything personal into that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It is funny how, I don't know. Like I was trying to think about why, but I mean, it could be things going on in my own life. Who knows? At the same time as the recording, but yeah, so that last scene, I was just like, oh man, I was fixated on the screen and tearing up watching that one. So, and I hadn't any of the other three hit me. Like I enjoyed them, and I felt like different parts. You know, you feel it on the inside, but this is the only one that had me tearing up watching it. So,
it could be an expectations thing, like because you hadn't seen it a lot, like the memory of it was still kind of fresh.
Whereas other ones, you sort of, as we said, 1 and 2, I know like the back of my hand. So
yeah,
and then 3, I said I just never for whatever reason. Yeah. So it is weird to go see how these films can hit with different elements, but yeah, I definitely really, I think there's, as far as core themes go for this one, I only had down letting go because that's sort of, and then I put differently under emotional philosophical ideas, the existential crisis of self, aka Forky, because I think there's like 2 elements of the movie. It's like letting go and then like finding a new life, I guess, which you get when you meet Bo Peep. She's already gone through all of that when we meet her in this film, and she's let go of her past life as a toy in the life of a child, and she's made this whole new life for herself. But Woody goes on this journey in this and event, as we see at the start of the movie, where he's never picked to be played with anymore by Bonnie, and he's there, but he doesn't, like, he's not really needed. Like he's just there. He's not really.
He's trying anything. To find purpose in.
And he has no purpose where he is at that stage in his life, what he's doing. So by the end of the movie, he makes that choice to, instead of I guess repeating the same thing over and over and hoping for a different change, cycle, and definition of insanity, and going back and hoping, he chooses to stay with Bonnie, and who
just stay with
they're going to make Bo, to stay with Bo, and they're going to make lovely toy babies together, I'm sure, off screen. I don't know how that works, but
this is a story about self-care. You know, you gotta.
No, they do. They definitely need to take care.
You need to take care of yourself. Sometimes you need to put yourself first. Your needs first. You know, especially when you see someone is fine. You know, like Bonnie, she's got all these other toys that are going to take care of her.
Yeah.
You need to find personal fulfillment sometimes. You
know, and he's going to find that. And it seems he finds that because I've watched the trailer for Toy Story 5, and he's got a poncho. And anyone that's finding a poncho has found their
meaning in life. That's the poncho. That's why Mexicans are so happy all the time.
Yeah, you put on poncho, you gotta, like, you're feeling it. You know, you're feeling life. You feel really comfortable in where you are.
You're comfortable enough to start going bald.
And just not care.
You know?
Yeah, you're pretty comfortable at that point, I think. So. And then I think, the Forky stuff is really interesting because as much as it's very funny, of which it is very funny, and Forky has always been the standout funny character of this trash, like just the very funny character, but like it's also one of the, I think, most deep characters that they've ever created for this franchise, because it is literally someone going, like, they've managed to somehow do such a on this fine line of silliness or whatever, but is no different than like us sitting at home at night going, what is the meaning of life? Why was I created? Like, and, like, it's just, he's just having this breakdown, and he's like, why am I here? Like, why am I even alive? Like, what is my purpose? You know, like, it's such a, I think, like, deep character that's just portrayed as this huge joke, I guess, in such a good way. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's interesting because you could also take it a really dark route of, like, this story about indoctrination and forced assimilation. Like,
I mean, I guess.
He believes he is one thing, and all these toys are telling him he is something else. You know? Yeah. And he has to adapt to this way of life, or he's not going to be.
I mean, but at the end of the day, he is a toy, right? He was created by.
I mean, the reason he has life is because he is a toy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We assume trash does not have life.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's interesting that, I think because they kind of put it as like Bonnie put her name on it, so now he's got life. Like, I think it's just she believes it's a toy, so it's a toy.
She believes he's a toy, so it's a toy. Yeah.
Which raises a bunch of other questions. Does the spoon that your parents like pretend is an airplane to is that a toy?
Yeah.
Does that have life?
Does it
and
not
now
count
it's doomed to sit in a drawer somewhere, never to be played with again.
Does it not count because the parents are doing it? It's like a child has to play with a toy to believe it, to make it real.
Know.
Yeah.
It does raise a bunch of psychological questions. So, but I think just the naivety of Forky and his conversations that he has with Gabby and like relaying all this information about Woody like obliviously, not really like realizing she kind of has these weird ulterior motives. I think is very funny.
And by the end of the movie, she's just like, "I'll miss our chats." He's like, "Me too."
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what? How about all the Woody stuff? Do you have any other thoughts on his arc in this movie? Because until we get to Toy Story 5, even in a world where this ends, and you can imagine a Toy Story 5, you don't imagine Woody in it. Like with the way his story wraps up here and the way it goes, and it's such. I'll
just say outright, I forgot how this movie ended. So much so, I was not surprised that Woody was in Toy Story 5 in the teasers and all that kind of stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I guess we're all still together.
Still with Bonnie, yeah.
It's all good. I think it again really powerful. Like you've got this story where he is unfulfilled in his current life, but also meets somebody from his past that he like was the one who got away. One way or another, he had that choice at that moment, and in the flashback at the start of the film, where he could have just stayed with Bo, but chose Judy over personal.
Andy still needed him.
Feelings, yeah. Andy still needed him. So, I think all those things kind of tying together, I think, was really interesting for Woody to deal with. And again, he struggles constantly through this movie with his sense of duty over what is right in the moment, or right for him, putting.
That's the thing. Like he has nothing, and he's hanging on and looking for anything at the start of the movie where he's going to whatever the doll girl's name is, saying, well, we should be more worried about the school and all this because he's just clinging on to everything. And as soon as Forky's created, that's his, and he keeps trying to run away. He's got a mission. He's a soldier on a mission to make sure Forky's with Bonnie.
Bringing it back to this work thing, it's like weirdly this like I know previously we were talking about it being a parenting story, but weirdly the like work thing kind of works better in the context of this film because it is the story of this person showing loyalty to an employer or company that is not showing the same amount of loyalty back, and this finding unfulfillment in their work and that kind of stuff, and having to finally being shook out of the interchanging things. So, it's very interesting.
What do you make of? Because at the end of the day, even if they don't go deep on it in this movie, because it's still a kids' movie, this is the only Toy Story movie that has a romance in it. Even if it's they don't have the
deep romance rather than
deep
just
romance, but it is there, and it's obvious for any adults watching it that they constantly. I mean, they've always teased those two characters romantically, but not to the extent that they are in this one. And obviously, Bo is written so much better as a character.
I don't think you could say none of these have had romance. Obviously, tease them at the end of the first movie. Woody is covered in kisses from Bo. The second movie, we clearly set something up between Jesse and Buzz. His wings didn't pop out for no reason. And then we've got the potato heads who are clearly in love. And I assume are kissing. They've got children together.
I would say you've had a bunch of kisses. That's not romance. That's just they do a kiss joke. Then you had a horniness joke with Buzz, and then you just have a bunch of bickering old man and old lady
wife
couple
because of
no. This is the only film that has any like characters looking at each. Like they have that scene where Buzz is looking at Bo like lovingly, and then the other character's like, "What are you looking at?" He's
What
like, "Oh,
about
nothing. I was
Buzz
just looking at
and
I was just looking at the road. I was just like that's what I'm talking about. They're doing like rom-com
Romance means a lot of different things, is what I'm saying.
Classic
rom-com, I'll let you have,
yeah. But I enjoy it. I think it's again, it's
also
not,
the first time they see each other, but they're toys.
Yeah,
I think it was really cool.
Yeah, they like
being held by the
make
same
them
kid at the same time. Yeah,
stare into each other's eyes by the kids and
but they're
stuff like
inanimate because they have to be.
I think it's a really good. Also, like they wrote Bo Peep out for the third one because they assumed she died basically, and then they bring her back for this one.
I mean, a lot of toys have been written out between 2 and 3, so
yeah,
she was just one of the casualties.
But then they choose to bring her back for this one, and they just give her such a reimagining, and she's like such a cooler character in this one. This badass fucking roaming the land in a skunk, like
skunk.
It's really cool. Animation quality. This is the one that stood out to me in the rewatch. Like, especially watching these like in quick succession. Across the couple weeks we've been recording these. The start of this movie, the rain and everything. I was like, good lordy. Like, I know this movie's like several years old now, but that I think I've watched this stands out in retrospect of 2026. I'm watching the start of this movie going, bloody hell, like this isn't good looking shit here. So there's something about that rain sequence at the start and rescuing the car and all that sort of stuff. I was like, good looking film right here.
I think that like the settings of this one like lends itself to like cool like animation. Like you've got all the lighting from inside the antique store, that scene where they're looking all the different lanterns and that kind of thing, which you wouldn't have been able to do Toy Story 1 time. And then like the carnival, all these
so many people,
so many like contraptions moving at the same time. It's all really cool.
And way more human characters. We've got the cat as
well.
We
get way more of Bonnie and her parents than we did Andy and any of Andy and that.
Yeah. We just straight up have human interaction with all the silly jokes with the RV at the end of the movie, constantly stopping and the police officer and all that sort of stuff. But I also think this is the funniest Toy Story movie. I don't know if that's another hot take, but I will say I did laugh quite a bit out loud, not chuckling inside my head, at the how we're going to get the key scene. That was very funny. And I forgot about that scene and it was just happening. And every time that by the time they're telling the third version and it gets cut off, like, where is this going? Good Lord. They're like, just wait. And then they're going to think, and then they just appear out of nowhere and do the same shit. I was laughing. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Again, perfect casting with Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele reunited in this. That sequence, like the perfect use of the rule of threes, just and it's something you would not see of any of the previous, Toy Story films, which I think, obviously Rashida Jones was involved in the writing of this one for a long period of time. I feel like her comedic chops probably an element of that, So
well, they had a lot of writers on this one, so I assume part of it, including her, was to be like, let's add some more jokes. Like, we want some straight up
kind of
jokes.
funnier.
Yeah, I think it works because I thought this was the funny between Forky and like that scene and other stuff.
What is it? Bunny and Ducky. Great duo, and then you've got fucking Duke Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom with Keanu Reeves just kaboom. Like it's just there is a lot of silly characters in this. There's quite a lot of fun.
Giggles as well, the little Polly Pocket ripoff.
Yeah. Police officer lady. Yep. My question for this one, I didn't do it for the last few ones. Left it out. Who was this film made for?
I think, I mean, it's still a kid's film, but I feel like they're going for this may be the broadest aimed one of these films. Like, this is definitely a 4-quadrant film. It's like, we want to get as many people as possible. We want to cash in on the IP, but also tell a great story. And
yeah, I honestly feel like this is the most. If I'm viewing the other three as they were created as primarily all ages family films, I do feel like out of all of them, this does feel more like a film that just happens to be animated. And by that, I just mean I actually think it has probably some of the deeper themes in it. The fact that it's got a romance, the fact that it's got more comedy involved. Like all in all, I feel like it feels more just like a fully functioned just film that happens to be animated and can be for all ages, rather than setting out to make an all ages animated film for kids, because kids love animated stuff when they're younger. Yeah. So, and that sort of makes it stand apart quite a bit, I think. And we get to see obviously Toy Story 5, but going off the trailers, Toy Story 5 kind of seems like it's going back more in the proper direction, and it's going to be interesting in looking back at all of the films, because they've said apparently the 5 is at least the end of Woody and Buzz. If it continues after that, it's not going to be with them. But if looking back at 5 films and going, well, 4 stands out as almost like they brought in the indie filmmaker to do like like a weird sort of side project. All right, pick 2 elements that stood out the most for you from this one. So we've got animation, visual style, music and sound design, voice performances, world building, emotional impact.
I will say animation, because like you said, it looks incredible. It's just faster paced, more visual gags, like all that kind of stuff. Like the ducky thing, it doesn't work unless the animation for that is really very funny, and it, which is like the human, the old lady reaction as well. Like that plays into that sequence. And then it would be world building, like setting up this world of like lost toys and the whole antique shop, setting up Gabby, who is and the ventriloquist dolly, who we think of like super creepy at the start of the film, and then it turns out, unlike all the other villains that we've had in all these other movies, like they turn out to be just like kind of this wholesome person who wants this one thing but is unable to obtain it. And like, her tragic story, like she has bad motivations, I guess, for what she wants. No, what she wants is kind of bad because she wants to take somebody's vocal cords, but she never steals them. She's always asking for permission and that kind of stuff.
No,
I mean, always her intentions are always taken the wrong way.
No, that is another thing that probably should point out, that this one does stand apart in that it doesn't actually have a proper villain, unlike the other 3.
Not a classic. It's a bad guy. Villain. They're doing bad things.
Yeah.
No redemption.
Yeah.
And get their comeuppance, this one, she gets the thing she wants, or gets the thing she thinks she wants. Her moment with Harmony, and then gets rejected, and then ends up like helping save this little girl at the end. I think her arc is really, again, evolution of the storytelling that this franchise has.
I'm going animation, visual style, and emotional impact. As I said, the 2 things that stood out to me the most, I think that starting sequence and then the rest of the whole movie. I just think the animation on this one is, in quick succession of rewatch, stood out the most to me. And then this is the only one I've teared up in, so it has to have emotional impact if out of all of them that I'm picking it up for. So, favorite moment, scene, sequence, or character?
I mean, it's pretty hard to go past the stealing the key sequence.
Now it was really hard for them to get that. I'll have you. It was a lot. They had to go for a lot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Duke Kaboom's giant jump, or the goodbye. I mean, those are all really fantastic moments. So,
It's sort of hard. So I want to pick like my emotional answer is the ending, but then my funny answer is actually just the first time Forky comes out into the room.
Yeah, the from the misunderstanding of Bonnie made a friend to yes, Bonnie made a friend.
Yeah. Literally, no.
And that whole first night montage.
Yeah. It's been like, trash? No, toys, friend. Trash. Like, and just
any
Woody
conversation
chucking.
they had, like the conversation on the road.
Yeah.
As they're walking to the RV park.
Mm.
Like, trying to relate the feelings, it's like talking to a toddler.
Yeah. Bonnie loves trash. I'm Bonnie's trash. Yeah, yes, no. No, yes.
I guess.
I guess, whatever, yes. Let's go with that. So, but I guess I'll pick the ending. I feel like that's the big one thing that makes most sense. Where, like, in the year 2026, where this movie definitely was the most, I guess, mixed feelings as far as, I don't think critically it was fine.
No, I think it was enjoyed. It won the Oscar for Best Animated Film that year.
Yeah.
In a strong field.
Mm-hmm. But viewers still have mixed feelings on it, I think.
Historically, people are like, maybe hold it down because they feel like it was a bit of a cash grab or like a continuing franchise they felt had a natural conclusion.
Mm-hmm. So how's that legacy affected currently, I guess? Like no one's really, I guarantee, like if people are sitting down to rewatch Toy Story, most people aren't picking this one.
Yeah. I think, and if you ask people, it's not going to be people's favorite Toy Story.
No.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's definitely the kind of the black sheep of the family to a little bit, It's got unnecessarily and probably unfair criticisms and grudges held against it for reasons that it doesn't really deserve, outside of just, how we feel about our media, the continued question about every single franchise film of like, why do we need this? Was this film necessary? Why'd they have to make this? In a world where continually original stories don't make any money and we spend all the money on franchise films,
Yeah, I'm wondering if after 5, it could help this one. If
people look back more fondly on this one because of
like they enjoy the maybe if they enjoy the characters in that one more, maybe if they enjoy Bo and they enjoy Woody and how he is in that one, and then suddenly it helps them enjoy watching this one more to see how they get to that position. So maybe,
yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No, I think we covered most things. I don't understand why how did that antique shop end up with all the ventriloquist dummies in all of America?
Good question.
There's at least 6 or 7 of the same doll. It's like, man.
They're drawn to there, like moths to a flame.
Absolutely. Also, was the skunk like already a skunk, or did they have to make the skunk cover?
No, I'm assuming they found it. I don't think they're smart enough to create.
And why isn't that like RV? You know what I mean? Like the race car from the first films.
Well, I think it just runs on. I don't know. Maybe
why is that not a livable toy with agency of its own? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good. These are good questions. And I don't have answers, but no, that's a fair point. Maybe it was never get. I don't know. My head hurts. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Animated Wonders. Let us know what you thought of the film on social media at explosionnetwork.com/follow. If you enjoyed the show, you can find more podcasts, reviews, and pop culture coverage over at explosionnetwork.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast and Explosion Network, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Until the next episode, remember that animation is cinema.